Welcome to Business Notes. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, and I'm delighted to welcome to the show today Stephen Bates, British business coach. As a business coach, Stephen helps ambitious business leaders and entrepreneurs who know they're underperforming but don't know why. Stephen has helped thousands of clients across the globe over the last 20 plus years since founding his company, Certain Change, in 2002. He is the creator of the Alpha program, the Certain Change program, and co-founder of Tech Leaders and Retention Booster. Now here's Stephen to help you take back control. Stephen, welcome to Business Notes, and thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Really, really good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So let's dig in. Why do so many talented people hold themselves back when they know they could be achieving more? And I'm pointing the finger at myself.
That's it's been my life's work because so many people do it, and the short answer is the puzzling one, which is we actually hold ourselves back to try and help ourselves. Yeah, exactly. And that's the reaction. And I was speaking to a client today about this, and most of my clients are smart people. They're motivated, they have ambition. I love working with people like that because when they get out of their own way, they just action, and they take amazing action because they already have that motivation, but they can't work out why, with all their logic and their cleverness and their reasoning and all the books they've read and all the things they've done. This very fundamental question, which is, I know I don't want to be doing this. I know I could be doing this, or I should be doing that, or I should be taking this risk, or I should put my hand up and say I'm good at this, or put my prices up, or whatever it is they're getting in the way of. They know they should be doing it, which is also the clue to how you fix it and how easy it is to fix. But it's actually, we do it to help ourselves. So on the first glance, that's the reaction you gave, which was shock and surprise, is the one I want to have, because the real smart part of your brain knows it's crazy. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. And that's why you can't work it out, because I've literally had people with PhDs and, multimillionaires, made amazing businesses. And they said, I don't get it. And it's because they're not asking the part of their brain that actually is making them want to procrastinate, self-sabotage, hold back, lose confidence. So when you accept that it is, not what I want to do, and this is why my clients come to me, is because they come with a conflict, with a battle inside their head, and they know, if I did this, I would be more successful, or the chances are I would be more successful. But then they procrastinate, or they hold back, or they lower their prices, or they don't go for that career move that they should be going for. And they've got evidence that they could charge this price, or people have said, you should go for this job, you will get it, and they still don't. So they know that they're capable. So it makes my job really easy, actually, because they're already talented people, but just driving with one foot on the brake. So my job is to stop the battle with the argument inside their head, which is a conflict in thinking, but they usually come because they have a conflict in behavior, but they also have a conflict in emotion. So they get fed up with the emotion, the argument, and the self-talk and all the stuff. They know they should be doing a different behavior, but the thing that we actually don't bother really looking at too much on is trying to sort out the battle of the emotion, because if you change the battle of the thinking, you solve that one, you stop arguing, the emotion just pops and changes anyway. But it is not logical on the surface, but when you dig in, it's like, oh, and give me an hour with anybody, we'll find out what it is. Guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it. Because I think it's about 40% of people, sorry for monologuing, you asked me one question, I'm off. But about 40% of people excessively have self-doubt, and excessively procrastinate, and excessively all the things that we should do normally. And this is what confuses people. If everybody in the world procrastinates, it's because we're meant to. It's not an accident. So procrastination. I want to stop procrastination. It's one of the most searched for topics, as is confidence and self-worth. So if we are meant to, if everyone's got this problem at some time or another, everyone recognizes it, then we're actually meant to procrastinate. The problem is when we excessively procrastinate, and that's who I work with. And then when I show them the benefit of procrastinating at the right time, the right place, most people then go, oh, that makes sense. I can see why we all do it now. So that's what I spent the last 20 plus years researching and working with. I hope that's a good enough answer. Sorry if I just went off on one, but this is, my favorite topic, and I love helping people.
That's okay. Yeah, I call that what you were talking about earlier, a me conflict, because we're arguing with ourselves.
Yeah.
So again, why do we lose confidence to take that action that we know we need to take?
So again, the difference is, a really important difference is when we're meant to lose confidence compared to when we excessively lose confidence. It's the excessive loss of confidence is the problem. The reason why we're meant to lose confidence, which is not what most people teach. Most people teach you how to have bulletproof confidence, how to build your confidence, all that sort of stuff. Well, actually, if I backtrack a little bit, confidence, being confident, is the natural default state of human beings. We do so many things all day with such confidence, we don't realize we're being confident. Think about all the things you just do all of the time. And just get on with them. You pick up your phone, you plug something into the power, you have confidence, but we don't recognize it because we're meant to have this feeling of being powerful and being certain and being absolutely, and that's what people teach it as. But actually, it's just a feeling we have, which when we have that confidence, it removes doubt and fear. So then we can take action. So if there's something that is like, and this is answering your question, when are we meant to lose confidence? It's because every time we make a decision, and that decision could be risky. I'm about to spend a lot of money on a car that I've never, or I'm about to stand up and give a talk on something to this group of people. You're weighing up the risk. And you're thinking, is this the right way of doing it? Is this the right car? Is this the right course? Should I be working with Stephen or not? You're meant to doubt that. Now, salespeople hate it because they try and knock it over the line without them doing that. But every decision we do this, but a lot of decisions we already know it's the right decision. So we just do it again and again. So we have confidence, so we don't even notice we are being confident. But sometimes we're meant to go, okay, I know what it is I want, and I know why I want it. And I'm thinking about, is this the right way of doing it? And then we go, let me think about it before I sign on the dotted line or pull the trigger and go. And that's when we're meant to doubt. We're meant to have fear. We're meant to lose confidence. Because if you have doubts and fear, you can't be confident. Yeah. And that's good, because it makes us stop and not get carried away by the fear of the big emotions. I've got to do this now. Or you've been hyped up and you've been on a, you get all sort of motivated. Yeah, let's go and do it. You get excited and you just jump in and do something. You go, I wish I hadn't done that. Or you go on a big training course with, 5,000 people, and the speaker's up there doing their sales pitch, they're motivated, and you run to the front of the stage and then you go, So I always say to people, just here's a little tip. If you're going to go to one of those things, have a great time, learn some stuff, but just give your credit card to your friend. Don't let them have it back until you've really gone, is this really the thing I want to do? So it stops us getting carried away by strong emotions, excitement or fear. Right. And then if we can then think, yeah, this is a good idea. This is the right thing.
Is this like critical thinking, Stephen? Is it feed into that?
What do you mean by critical thinking? I just want to make sure I understand your definition.
Well, critical thinking is components of that are where we are able to make better decisions and problem solve and things of that nature. I was just wondering if there's a connection there to that.
So to make a decision, there's four main parts. We start off with, okay, should I do some marketing, or I need to get rid of my imposter syndrome, or I've got too much fear of, and I need to do that. So the first thing is you have the overall subject, but then the first thing is, why is it important to do this? And this is the one everyone misses out. They skip over far too quickly, because we want to get to the how, which is, how do we do this? Because that's when we think we're going to get some action, we're going to solve the problem or get the reward. But the second thing is, well, what is it exactly I want? Or what is the exact problem? So what's the problem? Why do I want to solve it? How am I going to do that? So the first bit is very emotive. The second bit is quite detailed. So it's like a new car. What car, what color, how many doors? And you give yourself a big list. And when you're really sure about that, you think, well, how do I buy one of those cars? So it's a brand new car, you'll go to the dealer. If it's an 8-year-old car, you'll probably look up in the internet and find out who's got one like that. But the last bit you do, and it's the critical, so it's critical thinking all the way through, but you stop back and you go, let's doubt, let's remove the emotion and go, let's step back and look at my working. Is this going to get me what I want or not? Is it going to complete the reason why I'm doing this? And that's when it's an essential part to, I actually teach this as to business owners and leaders and entrepreneurs, just how to make better decisions. And that's the bit that people, if they were doing it excessively, doubt, procrastinate, don't take any action, which then leads to not getting paid what you should, not having the opportunities, not niching at the right level. So you're not going for the right client or the right level of role or whatever it happens to be. So we miss out on doing something that's fulfilling or whatever, because it's, rather than thinking, is this thing going to be good for me? There's a part of our brain that is incredibly biased to, don't do anything that could be risky. Yeah. Don't do anything, because the human brain is incredibly biased to avoid risk. So when most people in the coaching world say, what's your goals, what's your goals, what's your goals? Actually, most of the time you need to solve this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem. And as you're solving better problems, and anybody in business knows the better the problems you solve for more people, the better you'll do. So 80% of our thinking is biased towards solving problems. We're heavily biased, but when we overly procrastinate, overly doubt, overly fear, it's because that part of that mechanism has gone even more out of control. And then it says, do you know what? Looks like a great opportunity, but actually it's too risky because I might lose it. And then you search for all the reasons why you're justifying why you can't do it. And then you lose that opportunity. You don't go for that deal. You don't put your prices up, whatever.
Right.
So it's a good mechanism that's got messed up and overused. And this is all accidental. We don't know we're doing it, but that's what I help people with.
Right. Well, you mentioned entrepreneurs a couple of times, and I know they're notorious for under promoting themselves, underpricing themselves, and underselling themselves. So talk about that a little bit, if you would.
Yeah. So everyone's has an individual reason. Okay. So you can't say that people under procrastinate because they're fearing failure or or judgment. So these are the common ones. So what often people think is, when they're teaching this, well, what's your fear of failure? And someone, I don't have a fear of failure. Okay. But when you get very specific with that individual and they go, as I had a client today, if I do not go to that interview, that means I will never be rejected. Yeah. Therefore, I get to feel good about myself because I never got rejected. Now, logically, you never got the job. You never got the pay rise. You never do anything that's fulfilling. So that says, let's hold back. And one client was literally, she was a professional dancer, and she used to stress massively about auditions. And she used to have panic attacks. She had panic attacks for every day, pretty much for 4 years. And we had one conversation, we found out what it was, that if she went to that audition and she didn't get it, then she'll never be able to go back to that company again. So what she said was, my long-term future is going to be destroyed, all in the back of her mind. She didn't even know this consciously. As soon as she found it, she was like, that's ridiculous. And what happened to the panic attacks? It just stopped. So the thing about the panic attacks and this overuse of fear, it wasn't trying to damage. And this is the thing that I picked up on about 10, 15 years ago, working with so many clients going, this doesn't make sense. What I've been taught doesn't make sense. I thought, it's always trying to help. If she has lots and lots and lots and lots of fear, she's either going to prepare extremely hard or not go. Either way, she's not going to fail, but she has to live in fear rather than turn up, enjoy herself, give her best performance. And guess what? She said 2 days after that, she went for an audition, she got the job. And she said, I had so much fun, which is probably a better way to turn up when you're showing your skills as a dancer and you've been training all your life. So everybody absolutely knows why they're doing it, but not consciously. So that's the battle people have inside their head. This is why the smart people, I'm really smart, I keep doing it, I can't work it out. Because it's almost like the reason is another part of the brain. And they're just not able to talk to each other. As soon as you make it common, it's like, oh, that takes about an hour. Go, is that it? Is that what I'm doing?
Communication, right?
Yeah, basically communicate yourself. So therefore, all that's happening is there's part of you saying, I've got to go to the interview because I want to be successful. I want to enjoy myself. I want to do something fulfilling. I've trained all my life to do this. I love dancing. Let's go around the world and dance. And this part's going, yeah, but what happens if you fail? If you fail, then you'll never be able to do those things. So we're not going to let you. So this is procrastination, self-doubt, whatever the individual's doing is a version of, can I keep myself safe? Now, most people will get that. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of embarrassment, fear of judgment, fear of, that's the ones that everyone thinks of. But here's the bit that's different. Yeah. And this is what blew my head. This is like about 15 years ago. If you keep asking, what's the benefit of not failing, not being judged, not losing your money, it always ends up with the same reason of wanting to achieve and being successful. Every single time, because there's only one you, but there's two parts of the brain just arguing about the way to do it. That's why people have a battle. It's like them arguing with themselves. So there's two parts of the brain with two processes. It's not an inner child. It's not a this or whatever. It's just two processes saying, I'm the best one for making you successful and happy. This one is reasonably good. This one just come up with a crazy idea, which is don't go to the auditions. So it's really predictable. It's after a bit of practice, I can definitely say I'll find what the reason is within an hour with anybody. And when they know, you can do something very simple, you just make a decision. So a lot of people spend years and years and years doing therapy and whatever else and self-help and reading books, and affirmations are often not the best thing to do. Affirmations often make it worse. And when you understand it, like any problem, you understand the problem, you define the problem, then you can actually go, this doesn't work. You make a choice. And that's why people, boom, like 4 years with panic attacks, been, had all the normal sort of therapies. We had a conversation, one conversation, stopped, hasn't had one in a year. Now it sounds make-believe and crazy, but it's really about solving the conflict so you can do something far more important, which is go off and be successful, put your prices up, go for the job, pitch to that company, build that JV partnership, whatever that you've been wanting to do.
Wow. So why do people back away from starting their own businesses? Same principle?
Exactly the same principle, because it's a principle, but it's everyone's an individual, and you have to find the individual. But who am I? Am I an entrepreneur? Am I allowed to be successful? Is it worth the risk? What will happen to my kids? So this is the interesting one. Why do you want to start a business? To be in control of my life, to work at the level of skill that I know I can, because I've been working for this company and they don't appreciate me, I don't get paid for it, so I'm going to do that. So I can then feel fulfilled, be pleased with myself, have the money, have the rewards, look after my family, do the things that you want to do. And the reason they don't do it is because, well, if I do it and fail, I won't feel good about myself. I won't earn any money. I won't be able to be in control of my life. I won't be able to look after my family. So the exact same reasons, usually, or very similar reasons, but in a slightly different way of thinking about them, is the reasons why you don't do it. So they stay with regret and disappointment, not starting their business or pushing the business. Or the other big one is going from solopreneur to business leader, meaning you have a team which you lead, because a lot of people hit solopreneur and then I'm not a manager, I'm not a leader. So this is the follow-on piece I often work with my clients is they become successful, and a successful solopreneur should run out of time. So they need to leverage the skills of other people. So then we work with them on how to be a leader and a manager, both, and leverage their people. But they may be successful because they let themselves go, but then they go, I can't do that. That's not who I am. People are just a pain. I don't know how to do it. So therefore they stay as a solopreneur. And this is where I first started as a physio. It wasn't until 7 years ago when a millionaire walked in and said, I know exactly how much money you earn a week. Because he just did the maths. How many clients? I told him how many clients. He knew what he was paying. He said, you'll never earn any more than that because you've got a job. So I was very proud of myself because I thought I built a business. But actually, I just built a job, my own job. It was a lot better than my other job. But that's when I went, he's right. Because I didn't know any different. Young, and I came from a background of nobody in my family was in business at all. So I never got taught any of this. So it was like when he walked in, it was just like, oh, thank you, slap. it just, that's why he's a millionaire and I'm not at that time.
Well, Stephen, that's a good segue into my next question is, how do managers and leaders get the best out of their teams?
That's a big question. I use a system for very quickly assessing not what someone's skills are, but what they like to do. And I think there's three preferences, but you have three preferences, and it's almost like attitudes to business. I call them innovator, manager, and worker. So some people think, oh, that's similar to the Michael Gerber E-Myth book, yeah? But it's not all innovators are entrepreneurs, but all entrepreneurs need to be innovators. So you need to look at, shall I say that again? Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of the attitudes to life and business is I'm an innovator. I like to create new ideas, new businesses, new things, new marketing campaigns, new sales techniques, new anything. Yeah. And designers, so they like to create. So the first way of thinking, do you like to create? The second one is, do you like to control? So these are managers, not in a bad way, but controlling systems, controlling people, controlling logistics, and they get a buzz out of making things work in a nice process. Now, some people are good innovative managers, meaning they're good at control, but they like to create these systems. And then you have workers who get pride out of being really good at their job. So they've got lots of knowledge, they get better and better at it, and they love it. But they're the worst managers because we usually have a preference. The first preference is what we like to do most of the time. The second preference is, yeah, I don't mind doing this. The third one is one we really dislike doing. Even though we're capable of doing it as a skill, we're smart enough, we don't like doing it because it's diametrically opposed usually from our first preference. So it's a value set, it's a fun set. I love doing this and I love feeling, I enjoy doing this. So when we're doing something we enjoy, we're usually more valuable, more productive. So a lot of people, most of us start off as workers because, hey, when we're 16 or whatever, we get our first job, we get told what to do this, you're a worker. But then we might be innovators at heart. So a lot of entrepreneurs are innovators, but most entrepreneurs, they're innovators, which means they can be the leaders of their business. They're going, hey, we're going there. I've had an idea. Let's do this. But 75% of entrepreneurs are so into innovating working. So they have a skill, they have an idea, that's how to make a business, that the biggest weakness is managing. It's too slow, it's boring. And then that's the ones when they become the innovative, and this is what most entrepreneurs are, an innovative worker, start their own business, I can do it better, and then they run out of time, and then they leverage systems a little bit, but they control process usually disappears. So 75% of entrepreneurs are more innovative workers, and 25% are innovative managers. So an innovative manager is more like a COO who can make the systems work and devise the systems and get people to manage them. So this is why partnerships are often good, and solopreneurs have trouble, because there's three parts of business. You need someone to do the work, you need someone to do the control systems, and you need someone to do the marketing, where am I going, vision. Yeah. Right. I've never met anybody who's equaled all three.
That's right.
Because it's a preference. Apart from a few, I shouldn't say that, 50-year-old crusty guys who've got an ego the size of a planet, who miss out what I'm actually saying. When they go, I can do all three. I said, no, it's about what's your preference. But I'm brilliant, I can do all three. And then you go, oh dear. It's only guys that tend to do that as well. But most people get it and they go, that's why I'm better as a director, but I hated being the manager. So a lot of directors, or say like a sales director, they're good salespeople. They're the best salespeople, but then they get shipped, and this is the cliche, isn't it? They go to be the sales manager, and it's a completely different thinking and mindset and skill set. And most of them have never been trained in it, let alone they are not natural managers in the way they think. So they fail miserably, go back to being a high-level salesperson, worker. But actually, what I often advise my clients is, director. Get some mentorship, learn how to lead and be the director, because as a director, you're leading the direction, you're innovating. How do we do this? How do we hit these targets? And what do they then need? They need somebody who could just organize the chaos that they create, so it becomes efficient while they're off being entrepreneurial. So this same happens with entrepreneurial businesses and how you make a team work. So that's the first thing I work with. And this is, back to your original, thought. There's something we don't like to do. So we tend to neglect it, gets done badly, and that's the Achilles heel of our business. And that's why a solopreneur always has a hard time, because there's three roles and there's only two preferences they actually like doing. And some people only have one. They're very strong on one. So therefore, there's always the Achilles heel. That's why there's never been a truly successful business in the world with one person.
Now you tell me. Now, you mentioned earlier that you're a physiotherapist. I hope I said that right. So first of all, what made you make the switch to what you do now from that? And how do you use that in what you do today?
I trained to be a physio many years ago, in my early 20s. So at 23, that's a scarily long time ago, 31 years ago, I had trained to be a physio worker. Started my own business and never wanted to work for the NHS or work for anybody else. Started my own business. So I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. So I was I was a worker who wanted to innovate. So I always wanted to be better at what I did. So I trained in physiotherapy, or physical therapy, I think you guys call it over there in the US. Osteopathy, I trained in Japanese medicine and Chinese medicine. I was always looking for the tool that was going to help my clients. So that was the innovation part of me. And some of them worked better, some of them were rubbish, and whatever else. But then I noticed something very quickly, and it was just made me just sort of like really be puzzled. And as soon as I tell people this, they go, oh yeah. When people came in and they hurt their back, or they've got a big sprained ankle and they're in a lot of pain, or they've got neck problems, or got headaches. So they were coming to me, all these things. And physically, my technique, I was really good, really good. But then I would actually coach them. I'll coach and mentor them, and then say, in between sessions, do some of these exercises, do that sort of stretching. Don't sit in front of your computer. And we're talking about in the days when you used to get someone coming around and looking at your workstation, and companies used to pay for that. Just make sure you're sitting in the right way. So you're helping yourself get better, not making yourself get worse in between sessions. Logic. And I didn't sell them anything. They didn't have to buy any expensive mattresses or anything else to help. None of that. It was easy. And some people did what I suggested. And fun enough, they got better quicker. So they were really happy, gave me loads of referrals. I was happy, they were happy, and the people they referred were happy. But a sizable amount, and this is where I come up with a 40% number, about 40% of them, when I said, hey, did you do what I asked you to do? They were like, And I went, okay, why not? Oh, I was busy, or I did it a bit. And my favorite one, the three most common answers was, and they didn't know why they hadn't done it. And that got me thinking, if you are in that much acute physical pain, you can't walk, you can't earn money, you can't pick your kids up, something really acute pain now, huge motivation. They're traveling to me to see me, they're paying me money, having to take our time off work or couldn't work, real strong motivation. If they still weren't doing that, what's going on? And there was enough people, it wasn't the odd one or two, 40% of people didn't do it. So that's what me go, wow, what is going on? First question. Second question was, if we do it in those circumstances, when and where else do we do it? And the answer is everywhere. Relationships, health, business, money, hobbies, everything. So that's what turned me into, when I was trying to coach these people just to do the thing they need to do, I just got fascinated. So while I was running my physiotherapy practice for about 10 years full time, I just went and studied this, found a lot of the stuff that was out there didn't answer the question. It gave you lots of techniques, gave you lots of coping mechanisms, and I've spoken to a lot of my clients and they said, yeah, I've done all of those. And it didn't change anything. So I thought, what is the reason? So I like unsolvable questions. What is but if there's 40% of people doing it, it's not an accident. Well, it's an accident of thinking, but there's a reason why it happens. And that's my brain. Just after 2 years after setting up my business, I went, yeah, let's go and study this now. My freight, and I've worked with pretty much every niche you could think of. I've done every single topic you could think of. But my favorite is still working with entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial people in business, even if you're employed, because they have so much drive and enthusiasm. And for me, it's like, let's just take the brake off. It's solve the battle inside your head. So you take the brake off, you go. And then the results are spectacular because they should have already been doing this in the first place for years, but they just haven't let themselves. So it's very fun and rewarding. And but that's where it came from.
As I mentioned in the introduction, you are global. You work with clients around the world, but you also have an office in Pakistan. I thought that was fascinating. Is that relatively new?
Relatively new. I have had clients literally all over the world. The only place I haven't had clients in, haven't had any Russian clients, and I haven't had any penguins. But Antarctica, I haven't had clients in, but I've had clients literally in every part of the world. And it's the same stuff, the human beings are human beings all over the world. So we still want the same things. We want to be happy being who we are. We want to do something which we find fulfilling. We want to be rewarded in the way that we want to be rewarded in. So people are pretty much the same. And I traveled all over the world. And when you get to know people, they still want to bring up their kids. They still want to feel proud of themselves. They want to be sexy. They want to feel, they've done something useful and contribute to the world. And whatever, is driving them, it's very similar. And the Pakistan came up simply because someone contacted me and said, can I represent you in Pakistan? And we had a chat, and then their job is now to build me in Pakistan. So it's just because someone said, I like what you're doing. I've seen that in my career in business. Can I sell you into Pakistan? But so it's my first proper having a country representative. but I've worked with people all over the world, and it's the same the world over. It makes no difference. So it's fun.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. And what's the best way for people to get in touch with you that want to work with you, Stephen?
So the easiest way is to go to the website, certainchange.co.uk, and just put inquiries at certainchange.co.uk. You can just send me an email, or you can find me in LinkedIn in the same way and just connect and ping me a message.
Right. You're on all over social media. Yeah, good. So they can get a hold of you anywhere.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show today and telling everybody how to take back control of their lives and their businesses, their teams. It's just been fascinating, and I appreciate your time today.
Oh, my pleasure. I hope it's been useful to everybody. And then I think the last thing is just, it's an accident we do this. We create a lot of pain. We create a lot of damage accidentally. But even if you've been doing it for years, and I get this a lot, I'm working with someone who's been doing this for 50 years. The change can happen in a heartbeat because you already know you shouldn't be doing it. You already know something better. So you never need to be fixed. You just need to have this stuff turned off. It's not.
I like that.
If the way side, but if you have a battle in your head, yeah, this thing is this part of the brain, and is the procrastination thinking is getting in the way. But the fact that you have you going, this is wrong, I wish I could take action. We don't need to fix that bit. We just need to let it loose and get on with it. That's why it's so quick to do.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you again. I appreciate your time so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you for watching Business Notes. We've been speaking with British business coach Stephen Bates. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, bringing you business ideas you can bank on.